really jumping like that, but hopefully after today it will. And I would love to, continue the conversation because I do have a lot of stuff I've been studying lately, right along with watching you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me mute that part. Maybe I should mute the Zoom one. Let me see. Maybe I should.
No, because then I can't hear you. Be totally silent on my end.
Mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. So let me get this link to YouTube. And I'll send that to you on Instagram. Peace from the House of Tonya 23. Always working on self-development. Tonight, we have Brother Rod Hayes with us. Yes. And so we are so excited about this conversation that is going to go wherever Brother Hayes would like it to go. Let me get to Instagram. There we go. And can you actually see the screen on that side or no?
I can't see the YouTube screen.
Okay. Hold on one second. So
when you send me the link on Instagram, I'm going to post it on my Facebook, and then I'm going to use my tablet to look at the comments on Facebook.
Okay, cool. I just sent it to you on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try to see. Hopefully the chat will get jumping on YouTube. Okay. Okay, so you can hear me? The sound is ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So before we were talking about our connection to the gods and goddesses of ancient Kemet, and you were on the show last night that talked about a lot of information on Young Elders channel. So we kind of can go from there, or maybe there is a connection between our star family connection and the gods and goddesses of Netaru that we are incarnations of.
So we have something called the Sybil priestess, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of them?
No. Sybil priestess, no.
Okay. Right. So, well, I ain't gonna go too deep into who they are, but they are activated by a primary priestess, and they normally they call them the 12 daughters of Isis, the Sybil priestesses.
That I've heard, 12 daughters of Isis.
Right. So the Sybil effect is the ability for the main Sybil priestess to be remotely connected to the other priestesses in the order. Right?
Okay.
So what ended up happening is the Sybil effect also applied to heredity. This is where it comes from.
Okay.
So you got 1,000 people claim that they was Cleopatra in their last life. Somebody not telling the truth, or it don't work the way we told it to work.
Including Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah. Anyway, so while they claiming to be a goddess in the past life, right, in the past form or whatever the case may be, it's the way that the heredity and the link to the progeny work.
Okay.
So you might have memories of your ancestor who just so happened to might trace back to Cleopatra, but she might be your strongest ancestor.
Okay.
Now there's what you call spin-off lines. You know how your grandmama got a sister and she got a whole nother line?
Right.
All right. Now the spin-off line, one of your grandmama's sister's daughter thinks she the same amount of Cleopatra is this sister do.
Okay.
Right? But that's because they genetically connected, and that's the strongest ancestor when they trace back the line, and they the strongest current incarnations or embodiments of the family line. So they're going to automatically draw in a lot of the energy and memories of that ancestor because they were so powerful. Right? So now, you know, in a couple of generations, you know, in order for us to be here, it was like 3,800 ancestors going back 300 and something years.
Wow.
Right? So all of those ancestors can't come through at the same time, or you would be a raving, stark, raving, mad, lunatic, schizophrenic.
Right. Definitely.
But the ones who frequency that you match the most is the one that you will most identify with. And that's why it'll be multiple people believing that they the same ancestor. They related. And they are strong enough to embody a sizable portion of that memory, that genetic memory. Right? Like, it's a brother who wrote a book that said he was King Tut and Emmett Till in his past incarnations.
I think I heard about that.
Right. Now he had so much detail, you know, he ain't making this shit up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when you realize that Tut, that's Tupac.
Right.
And I know this. And then when I see the other brother, but he embodies some of Tut energy too. Right? So two descendants believe they the same ancestor. That's the simple effect.
Well, could it be possible that the ones that are actually the incarnates don't know? Like, would they be able to?
No, you look, when you're an incarnate master like Tut was called the boy king because he was a baby master. And he was qualified to carry the throne at the early age to make him a boy king.
Right. So it would show some way.
Right. So he being that powerful, any of them, Akhenaten, Namner, Khafre, Khufu, any of those ancestors, Zoser, Imhotep, when you incarnate with that energy is so strong that if you are a strong individual that's a descendant of them, you will identify with them so much that you will have their memories.
Okay. I was looking for this book. I had just bought a copy of it. It's called DNA, or not DNA, but Ancestry, linkage to the Kemetic pantheon using your birth name and your date of birth. I'm looking at it's called linkage. It's on Amazon. I'm gonna go on there. But yeah,
Uh,
do you think that
the book
process is
explains. What did you
possible?
say? The book explains again, sweetie.
It's like linkage to the Kemetic gods or goddesses using your numerology basically and your birth name.
Yeah, like they know from the date of birth. Hold on.
It's deity linkage. Here it is.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see this.
Deity linkage. Got you.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to get that. But
Yeah,
I've been
right. Well,
explaining
it's
it.
basically using the what is it? I think it's the Pythagorean formula where you just go through and add all the way across, and you get your life path, your expression number, and the soul urge number. And then they have the deities listed under 1 through 9, and whatever your numbers are, then you go there. But if you have a deity that shows up more than twice, um, or more than once on the list, then that's in two different spots. Like if it's your expression number and your soul urge number are the same, that's supposed to be an extra, energy towards that deity or
Yeah,
more
so they use
connection.
they use your death date from your last life,
Mm,
follow the procession of the stars, your energy signature matches a stellar alignment.
mm-hmm.
So you can put in the coordinates of every major metropolis on Earth, cross-reference it to a stellar alignment, and you can track where and when the person is coming back to.
Wow, that's interesting. Um, I had an interesting experience this past year. My mom, she transitioned in on December 7th in 2020. Okay, so long story
My mom
short,
transitioned November 7th in 2018.
wow, condolences. Um, she was
Right back at
70, 75 when she passed, but she's born on Christmas Day. So there were a lot of sevens associated with her. And also the number 444, like that number is like connected to her. Like whenever I see that number, I feel her spirit. When she first passed away and I was doing the eulogy and I was going through my pictures to find the best one to put on there, and she was number 444 in my pictures, and I was like, wow. And so ever since, she's really that number. Whenever I see it, like I really connect with her spirit. Like I'll wake up at that time. Sometimes a lot, like very often, I wake up and it's exactly 444. But when I looked up,
so
the number
440.
or the meanings of it, it says ancestral connection.
Yeah,
But
444 mean angel on the square.
wow, I'll write
An
that
angel on the square mean that the angel's standing on a post.
down. And I actually see evidence of it because, like I was saying before, stars have appeared out of nowhere and just moved across the sky at me, like even thinking about her. Because I'm still in a grieving process to a certain extent. And some days is better than others, but I can feel like when I pull up the intent and like really release it into the universe, I get a response like 95% of the time. And it's like if I try to show someone else or something like that, nothing happens. It's only with me, so it's weird. But I haven't had experiences lately with other people because there's just so many ships every darn where in the daytime and everything. You just really can't miss it. But yeah, that particular um experience really only happens by myself. And I feel like there's a star following me when I go places. Like I'll travel from here to New York. I'll look up. There's a star like right above me. It seems like it's the same one, but
You remember in
I
the Exodus story?
tripping.
You remember
So
the
many
Exodus
occurrences.
story?
I actually wrote a book recently. I'm about to release it any day now once the everything is done. But I wrote a book about it, and it's called The Secret Goddess of Seven. Oh no, The Goddess of Seven Secrets. And so I've just been really journaling all these experiences. And then my daughter, right, she just recently had her first child on March 22nd, 2022. And so I was there and I literally saw the baby
7 days
monitor.
before my mom. 7 days before my mom's birthday.
Wow, that's interesting. And then my mother was only 1 month apart from the passing of your mom. That's interesting. But I actually got to see the baby monitor, and my mom is born 12/25. Like I said, 4:44. I literally took a picture of the baby monitor. It said 12/25, 4:44. I didn't know what those numbers was, but I was like, I'm saying to myself, am I freaking witnessing the reincarnation? Like it was just
I got
weird.
another
But
synchronicity
then
for you.
guess what? My daughter and her husband end up naming the baby Seven. I almost passed out in the freaking birthing room. I was like,
Hey, look,
wow, this is just this. Yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
my father's father was born 12/25.
Wow, interesting.
7 days, 6 days before my oldest daughter birthday. It's his
Wow,
birthday, Christmas. He's Christmas baby. She knew a New Year's
yeah,
Eve.
wow. Well, my daughter's
So
born
5 days.
January 8th. Yeah, very lucky. My mom's was very lucky. Like, I remember because me, my husband, my daughter, and my sister, they had came to visit me one time, and I'm a Scorpio. I have like kind of morbid conversations sometimes. Like, I'll talk about, oh, like, when I pass, I'm gonna be back. Like, we'll have like certain conversations where, well, you'll express like, I'm coming back to look over y'all or certain stuff like that. And I remember having this particular conversation in my dining room where my mother was like, y'all definitely gonna see me. And I'll never forget the look on her face. And I was like, and then I started like the day after like her funeral service and stuff like that. As soon as I got back home, I was like, because we had to drive from New York back to Maryland. So when I got back, I was like, I just took a breath, like, wow, it's just sinking in. Wow, I don't have my mom anymore. And it just sunk in right then and there. And I was like, I just looked up and it was nighttime. I said, dang, mom. And then like a shooting star just shot past me. It was like so close. I could feel the wind, like the cool breeze from it. And I was like, and it's people outside. My husband's unloading the car. The neighbors coming out of his house all the time. I was like, did y'all see that? And they were like, see what? And I'm like, never mind. But yeah, that was like the first experience. The day I got back, it's crazy. But she's come around like that a few times. Can't get too close, but it's like a 6 feet or more away, but it's been that close. So it's just been occurrence after occurrence. But I do feel like, yeah, I know it's possible because I'm living in it, but it's the very first time for me, to have that much communication. But she's like my closest ancestor, you can only lose your mom once, but it was really deep with my grandmother too, is she would come to me in dreams and stuff. But my mom comes to my kids in dreams, like she's very present in our lives. So yeah, it's very interesting. But
So these children is the ancestors coming back.
that's what yeah, because like my granddaughter, she definitely everyone can see my mom in her. And then when my daughter named her 7, and she's not really aware of, I talked to her about metaphysics and, families involved, but you understand certain things a certain way. But yeah, they had no clue about the whole 7 thing or whatever. And then when they named her 7, I was like, wow, you know. But yeah, interesting. And she would have been the only
So I
womb that she would have been able to come back through because me and my sister's done in that area. She's the only womb in the
so
family she came because my daughter's 23. And it's
so I'm
crazy,
the
yeah.
seventh. I'm my mama's seventh child.
Wow.
My
Yeah.
my
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mama
yeah.
is my mama, my grandfather's seventh child,
Wow.
and my
Yeah.
grandfather is his mama's seventh child.
Yeah, see, we're all the oldest, the first child. My mother's a firstborn, I'm a firstborn, my dad's a firstborn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
alpha. So the firstborn is for the mother. If it's a girl, is her first heir.
mm, yeah, yeah. My mom actually did take care of it that way too, and I had no idea because my mom and my sister, well, since we were little, we were like raised till it was just two of us. My father always said, I'm taking care of him as an elder, and my sister's gonna care for my mom as an elder. We just grew up knowing that. So when it came down to it, my mom and my sister lived together, and my father, he lives in Harlem, and I live in Maryland. But my mother and my sister always stuck together. And I, as the other sister, I never felt, uh, jealous in any kind of way or, like my mom loved her
That
more.
means your mama did her job good.
Huh? I
That
miss.
means your mama did her job good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, she did. Yes, she did. hmm She was like an
She
ocean.
taught y'all sibling bond to be strong. She,
hmm Right. Plus, me and my sister is different. Like I knew that she needed that bond a little more than I did. I don't know. It's just me and my dad. I was a daddy's girl, and my sister was a mama's girl. Just not, my dad and my sister love each other. Me and my mom love each other. It just was that way. But some families.
so when we born, the elders appoint one of the parents is the primary custodian
Mm,
parent of a child.
okay.
And so my brother over me is my father's child. I'm my mama's child. My baby brother is my father's child. My
Mm.
oldest brother is my mama's child.
And y'all all
Right?
got the same
So
mother and father.
yeah.
Same mother and father.
So yeah. So what ended up happening is the temperament of the child when they born, when the elders examine them,
Mm,
they looking for specific ancestral spirits
mm.
in the test that they put the child through.
Wow.
When they identify the ancestral spirit based on the temperament the child was going to have as it developed, they know it's best that this child be raised by the mother
Wow.
and that child be raised by the father,
hmm
right?
Yeah, I
So
get it.
I could have been my father's child, but he wanted me to be my mama right hand man,
Mm, yeah.
right?
hmm
But that go back to the 3 sevens,
Right. That's
right?
interesting.
So it's a jackpot.
Because I'm my mom's first child, and I'm born on November 16th, which is a 7. That's
That's my
interesting.
brother's birthday.
Wow. Get out. That's interesting. That's a lot of coincidence. But
So
yes,
those are ancestral knocks, by the way.
an ancestral knot.
Knock.
Knot.
Like somebody knocking on the door.
Oh, knot.
Those synchronicities is to find certain people.
Mm-hmm.
we got to have a certain amount of convergences.
Okay.
It's either 3, 5, 7, or 9. Right.
Yeah.
3 convergences is fatherland.
Okay.
5 convergences is a motherland. 7 convergence is a masterland. And 9 is the convergence for the completion of a family's cycle.
Wow. So I had
So
got
when you become aware of your position in the family, then you understand why you might have been treated different in certain ways than other children, because different people had different responsibilities for the child.
Yeah. Because it's me and my sister, but I have other brothers and sisters from my father. But it's like I am the child that's responsible. Like, you know how the grandmother is like the glue to a family, and then when she transitions, sometimes the family kind of breaks apart. Well, my father named me after my grandmother, which was the glue of the family, and that's my middle name. Her first name is my middle name. And so,
was she gone before you was born?
No, I actually got to know her. Yeah, she was alive till I was older. She even knew my first son, so she knew a lot of her great grandkids. But she passed at like 75, which is another thing. My grandmother passed at 75. My mom passed at 75. Who, my grandmother? You said, do my grandmother have a daughter? Me? I have one daughter. Yeah, one.
Was she born after your grandma passed?
No, she actually knew my grandmother. Yeah, she was born before. Yeah, she knew my grandmother. She knew her great grandmother.
Okay. I'm just trying to track your granny because she come right back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My grandmother has 4 daughters, and one of her daughter's children had a girl child, like soon after my grandmother passed. Yeah, because my father's the oldest out of 7 kids. That's another 7. 7 children my grandmother had. Yeah, so it's a lot.
Yeah. So the reason is the way that it worked. Your father named you after your grandmama.
He did.
Right. The blessing in your grandmama line, blessing comes to you through your father line.
Wow.
Your sister's blessing comes through your mother off her mother's line. All of the inheritance comes through the motherland.
Right. Now
the right to rule come off the father line. So the father got to raise a matriarch.
Wow. Okay.
Now the reason he named you after your grandmama because she's coming back through one of your children.
Well, my daughter literally acts like my grandmother. That's our relationship sometimes. She is definitely an old soul, my daughter. Oh yeah. But
the only time they pick one is when they're gonna do a walk-in. True. So they'll have a temporary spirit embody the avatar until they're ready to jump avatars.
Wow.
But normally when that happens, after the person leave the avatar they in, the new avatar they getting in has to be in some type of altered state, like in a coma or something.
Oh wow.
And then they'll switch.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when they come in as a walk-in.
That's interesting. Yeah, my mom.
But I'm thinking that she's gonna come back. I'm thinking she's gonna be your son's daughter.
Well, that's funny because my oldest son's his daughter is 7 years old, my granddaughter, and she's born on Halloween. She's like my scorpion heir to get my circuit crowns and all of that, because it has to go to a scorpion. It's kind of like that. But yeah, and I was like, oh, I always want a granddaughter born on Halloween, and she came. It's incredible. But yeah, she is something else. She is some sort of a spirit. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So was she born after your granny passed?
she was born after. Yeah, and
Yeah.
she like
Cause
literally has the features of my grandmother. Hmm.
this
I never thought
she's
about
because the
that.
way that she's coming back through her son's line.
Mm,
So they all coming back to reap the rewards of their suffering through past lives at the close of the age.
mm,
So a lot of the ancestors that dipped out turned around on the 369 and came right back.
right back. Yeah, it
Right
seems
back.
like that's what my mom's definitely did. But
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you about this. So my mom, she comes from a family of ministers. The women in her family, her grandmother, her great grandmother, they were all ministers, and they were like spiritual seers. And even though she was a minister, she was more like a seer and a oracle type person. They were of Mayan descendants, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mother's grandmother had all these Mayan scrolls. Like she almost had, it must have been like close to a few hundred of these scrolls. They got into the wrong hands when she passed away. Like my mother's inheritance has been taken from her 2 times. It's just crazy. But yeah, the women on their side of the family are very spiritual. Like they're most certainly witches. But they were weird and they had long lives and prosperous lives, but they all went like pretty much back to back. So I don't know. It just was something that I thought about because I know the women on my mom's side of the family definitely was of Mayan descent, and they was spiritual and had abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, I only got to meet um my grandmother on her side briefly. Oh no, my great grandmother. I never got to meet my mom's mom. She died extra early. Yeah, she died like in her 50s. Yeah.
My grandfather was 55.
Wow. Yeah, my mother's father, he died in his late 60s. But he was like almost 550 something odd pounds. Big, tall man. Yeah, I
Really
remember.
clean. That's my father. My father was like that. My
Yeah,
father was 6'7" when he exited in 2019. He was about 4 something, almost 500 pounds.
yeah. His name was Boise Murray. I had never met anyone else named Boise before. But he was an interesting guy too. Well off too. He lived in Detroit. We used to go visit him every summer. But yeah, my he ended up getting remarried, and that's how my mom was his firstborn, but that's how her inheritance got stolen again on their father's side. Because when he passed, they didn't contact her or anything. Yeah, it's crazy. But I watched a lot of stuff in the years with the elders and like land and stuff because the family's from Charleston. My mother's family's from Georgia. She's from Fitzgerald, Georgia, and my dad is from South Carolina, Charleston. And so they used to give the
So
land, you know.
when you trace your ancestry, you're
Mhm.
gonna find out your family on both sides was fighting in the Gullah Wars, and they
Yeah.
didn't originally come from that part of the country. They just went over there to fight the war.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yo,
Well,
they
yeah.
named your grandfather Boise. Was that your uncle?
No, that was my mother's father, Boise.
Yeah, because that's where he was from.
Idaho.
Y'all clan goes back to Idaho.
Wow, that's interesting.
We all went to the southeast to fight the Gullah Wars. That's where the drama was going.
Yeah, because I was gonna say a lot of us come out of the Charleston, or they say the Charleston, South Carolina area.
Right. Now, Charleston was settled by King Charles. was named after.
Okay.
Right. And a lot of us went there to observe who these people was because we couldn't figure it out. They look like us, but they ain't us.
Right.
So a lot of the soldiers went to the cities that was named after the kings of Europe. They went to the state of Georgia, named after King George. Right? They went to Georgetown in different states. There's more than one Georgetown.
Yeah.
They went to Charleston. They went to Charlotte, named after Queen Charlotte. All of these places where we have major cities that they usurped. They named New York the Knickerbockers.
Yeah.
Right? New York is named after Yorkshire, England.
Yorkshire, right.
But really, it's not none of that. All of New York is Manhattan from the Manhattan tribe. That was the controlling tribe of the New York Confederacy. They had their own tribal confederation in the New York area of, I think it was 7 tribes.
Wow.
The second tribe to be caretakers of the land, if the Manhattan tribe don't step up, is the Shinnecock. Right? So we got all these different tribes all over the land. We know who belong where. All you got to do, look up a map with tribal names and you'll see where every tribe came from. And then you'll be wondering, why are none of these tribes in these places anymore? And then when you look at the population map of the United States, you'll notice that it's primarily populated all around the coast.
Wow.
Sparsely populated toward the center. They was attacking with Spanish Armada in California, but that wasn't part of this side of the land. It was 3 main regions, right? It was everything east of the Rockies, from Canada going to Florida. Then everything west of the Rockies, west of the Appalachians, everything east of the Appalachians was one territory. The middle ground was known as the Louisiana Purchase, was everything from New Orleans south to Nova Scotia in Canada, everything from the Appalachians on the east to the Rockies on the west. And then the third region that was being attacked by the Spanish was the far west, which really go from Alaska all the way into Mexico, all the way into South America. That's a whole nother tribal confederacy. When we found out we was fighting the same people all on all of the coast, we realized that their stronghold was in Florida. They was pushing the hardest in Florida. This is what the Gullah Wars is about.
Yeah.
We was never slaves. We was prisoners of war. And until we get that in our head, we gonna always be the victim.
Yeah. I agree.
And as long as you're the victim, you can never become a victor.
Now, is it true they had some sort of glyph or something in the pyramids that depicted us in bondage? Or that was depicted somewhere, but I thought it was.
They got pictures of people in bondage in the hieroglyphics. That's not an anomaly to us.
Right. Oh, okay.
Right. What's the anomaly is this artificial slave trade in North America,
right,
which was actually warfare, protracted warfare.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what was going on, so we could never get the imposters out. Because every time we stood up, somebody looked like us cut us down.
Yes.
And then the same nigga was talking about Kill Whitey yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah. In society, you can definitely see the type. The type is definitely there. Yeah. It's definitely a big difference. Like, yeah, they are definitely not us. It's a whole big frequency, vibe difference, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. So, like, sometimes you can, I've heard you like talk about different last names, like Williams and different last names. I recently had looked up my last name, but it really only went back to two slave owners. So my last name is Alston, and it's spelled Alston. So they associate me with Halston, which is two brothers, one in the South Carolina and one in North Carolina that owned slaves, and the only way they could differentiate between each other's slaves was to take the H off and leave one Halston and leave one Alston. But so far, that's like pretty
That's
much
bullshit.
mentioned. Yeah.
Austin is Alston, which is all stone. That's a
Alston.
tribe. Stone is a tribe.
Get
It's
out.
also a last name. AL is the definite article, the.
The stone. Okay, so it's like a prefix.
Right. So
Wow.
when you're talking about the stone, the clan, that's the Stone clan. Now you're talking Red House.
Mm.
You trace back to Angel Bay.
To
He
ancient
your
what?
chief. Angel Bay.
Angel
Jeff
Bay.
Ford is your tribal chief for your clan.
Wow. You said Jeff Ford?
Mm-hmm. Out of Chicago.
Mm. The Stone Clan. That's interesting. Never heard of
Yeah.
them before. Thank you.
Right, because they told you they was a gang.
Mm.
That's why you ain't never heard of them, because they want them to be villainized and demonized as the gangs.
Wow.
But that's why that room you in red with them 5-pointed stars.
Yeah. You said that's why?
That's
Mm-hmm.
Stone's colors is red and black. That's their primary colors.
That was
Their
my
primary symbol
color.
is that same 5-point star you use.
Wow, that's incredible. That is,
But they classify them as a gang
yeah, red and
in
black.
order for the government to wage war against the organic people of the land. They
Mm,
wage war with us by stealth. Because
mm,
if we knew they was attacking us like they was, we would have been formed an alliance.
mm-hmm.
The
Wow.
rule on the land, anybody that come here, they have to be welcomed in by one of the clan mothers. But
Right.
when they welcome in, she gonna give them the instructions
Mm-hmm.
for the land to worship under their own vine and fig tree. Right out the circle 7.
Mm. Wow.
What that means is you can believe whatever you want to believe and feel whatever you want to feel. Just don't force it on none of the other clans.
Yeah.
That's what causes the dissension in the land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So when they came over here, we promised Big Mama we ain't gonna start nothing on your land. And
Mm-hmm.
then when Big Mama turned around to go in the house, they shot her in the head.
Mm.
Figuratively speaking, but
Yeah.
they ousted her from her own house and they took her name out. So they started calling it the Big House.
Mm.
And then her family farms became plantations.
Wow. Now that's
And then
exactly.
they came up with the slave narrative to make us be perpetual victims. So we won't never think like somebody who needs to conquer and
Mm.
subdue an enemy.
Wow. Because I definitely feel it. Like I have this deep ingrained thing about wanting my land, like wanting land. And it comes from wanting my ancestors' land that they never got. I'm just saying, we never got 40 acres and we never got no
We
big,
ain't never had that coming.
but never had it coming.
No,
We already owned the land, but it got taken by war and
the
bullshit
land's still here.
crap that they did
The
to get.
land, look, the land is still here.
Right.
They
Yeah,
keep
so
telling me they stole our land. When I look out my window, I still see the land. It's still here.
we have to take rulership of it. But I feel it like deeply
Possession,
ingrained in my soul.
yeah, possession, 9/10 of the law.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's right.
The possession of the land has been artificially transferred through adhesion contracts and
Mm,
treaties with $5 Indians who was granted Indian status so that they could sign the treaties as if they was us.
right,
We don't sign treaties. That's not how our tribes ever did business.
right.
We never did business that could require us to sell land.
Mm-hmm.
We don't believe in selling the
Because
land
it's
because
never really
earth
yours
is
to
not for
sell.
sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think that whole concept is totally insane. Like, I really hate it. Big time. Yeah.
Now you got those
The land.
responsible as caretakers of the land.
Yeah.
We call them the chiefs. That's their job, is to take care of the land, the air, and the water of the earth.
Wow. So you said the Stone Clan, that's what they did?
The Song Clan is the policing force of the land all over.
Wow.
Chief Angel Bay El Rookin, the Rook, he is the highest law enforcer on the land, but he was indisposed
Mm,
as a prisoner of war.
right.
So, as a prisoner of war, autonomous individual can't exercise his jurisdictional authority.
Mm,
They know this. This is the code of kings.
yeah. So right now they know what they need to do, but they just scrambling and trying not to release get their asses
No,
out.
they look. That's not what they're doing.
Mm,
That's not what they're doing. The Chiefs is in Colorado at Raven Rock
mm-hmm.
continuity of government under receiving the benefit of FEMA. FEMA is going to the Chiefs.
Mm. Yeah, they have faded
When
into the black. I haven't heard much about FEMA with all the
right,
disaster.
because but if you've been listening to me, you would hear me talk about it the whole time.
Yeah, I have heard
Because
you
we
talk.
actually, in real time, we are in continuity of government transfer.
Mm,
That's what we're doing right now in real time. While the elders
mm,
is reclaiming all of the kingdom of Earth in Raven Rock, Colorado, in Antarctica, and they making galactic meetings with the Galactic Council and all that shit. I
mm.
got to be the one on the ground say, hey, we won. It's over with.
Right.
Until the people get enough people to get it to click in their head that the Indigenous Rights Act tell it all. Once
Mm-hmm.
we remember we the organic people of the land, and we start making active efforts to rebuild our family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Which automatically draws the structure of the clans back together,
exactly. I was
right?
saying, mm-hmm. I was saying the other day that
Once we wake up in mass like that, it's
yeah,
over.
yep.
The people not waking up fast enough. So while I'm doing this information campaign, I'm also looking for all conjures, all major conjures must be closed at the close of an age.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And it just so happened to fall on my shoulders because I can see the conjure that need to be closed. I
Right,
become obligated to find the people responsible for closing it that's capable of getting the job done and
right.
give them the information. It's their job to clean their own shit up.
Yeah.
People that start, if it was an open conjure from 12,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
that motherfucker would have been born right now. And they would have been connecting with me on some level so I could tell them how to close the conjure.
Yeah. Wow. What type of person does it take, or what do they have to
Well,
be?
first they got to have the blood of the one that opened the conjure. Because everybody that know the rules of magic know that anybody who opens a spell has to close it.
Close it, right? Mm-hmm.
And some of the people open them for nefarious reasons, and they don't want to close them
Mm,
because they're going to suffer for their dirt. They're going to reap the reward that they dirt produced.
right.
So they try to run from it until Big Mama see I done my due diligence to get them to close it.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that don't close it, it don't come back to them 100 times or 1,000 times. It comes back 1,000 times 1,000.
Wow. Mm.
So it's up to them. They don't have to close it. Leave that shit open.
What if they
But those who do their due diligence, like let's say it was 4 people that opened up a conjure. One of them don't want to close it, but 3 of them train. All of the dirt go to the one who don't want to close it.
Close it. Wow.
Because everybody else is doing their due diligence to balance the energies out or balance the scales of life.
Right. What if they die before they close it?
They coming right back.
In the same situation.
They're gonna keep reliving their life in a perpetual loop until they close that shit out.
I had gotten a birth natal chart. Well, it's a numerology chart, and I was told that as far as pinnacles goes, I'm on the last pinnacle, as if to say I've been here 8 times. So I guess the last pinnacle is a 9, and that's my frequency. I guess 9. Is that how that goes, or do you know anything about it? Because I don't care. I just don't want to come back. But if I want to, as far as
didn't nobody have to come? Listen,
yeah.
Didn't nobody have to be here? All these people keep talking this bullshit about being stuck in the reincarnation loop. It don't work like that.
No, I think
ain't nobody here.
That will.
Listen, there's nobody on this planet that between lives didn't choose to come back.
Right.
Everybody here for a reason. The problem is the amnesia. They forget the reason they came and get frustrated.
Right.
And that makes them become disenchanted with life.
So we choose to come
suicidal.
Yeah. Is it that true? We choose our parents or whatever?
We choose the family. We choose the family. We get to see the whole layout.
Wow.
Remember, when we're not in the physical body, we're not bound by time or space. Right? So we see the end from the beginning. And then we go to the end and see the beginning from the end.
Right.
Before we ever take physical form.
That's dope. So the ones that know that they're gonna have the first rule of life and they still come, that's interesting. Like those that are gonna have.
That's because it's supposed to make them strong enough to carry a greater load later in life.
Later on.
See, we don't teach our children like we used to that sometimes life is supposed to get hard.
Yeah.
When life get hard, you're going through a life test. Everything that led up to it getting hard was the practice.
Yeah.
Everything in the test was in the practice, but everything in the practice not in the test.
Not in the test. Right.
So if you don't know how you're developing yourself from your primordial drive to perform the function of who you are, then it makes it difficult to remember why you're here.
Yeah.
And that's why most people will rely on what's called the predestined path. They don't have to figure it out to take charge and apply willpower. The ones who decide to live life according to an application of will to develop their best life, right? They the ones who actually become the great souls of the earth in the history books.
Yeah.
They understood the assignment, even with the amnesia, they followed through with it.
Right. Yeah.
All of the great entrepreneurs is applying willpower to their knowledge of business. You got people smarter than every entrepreneur, but they don't have the willpower.
Right.
And they don't want to take the chance on themselves because they don't have the self-love and the self-trust to step out on who you are and just be what you are and the universe take care of you according to that scripture.
Yeah. And you definitely have to do it in order to experience, to learn it. You know, you have to take a chance on yourself. Definitely. Once you do it once and you see how it goes, yeah, it gets easier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, that goes for
Experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Experience is the best teacher unless you become a victim to your experiences.
Mm-hmm. I used
When you
to
become
no, go ahead.
when you
Sorry.
become a victim to your experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
What that's doing, that's browbeating you down. Pop goes the weasel. You don't want to stick your head up no more.
Yeah.
Learned helplessness is the psychological term.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You made a couple of mistakes, so you quit.
Yeah.
You
Or you
don't
don't.
want to try no more.
Yeah. Or some people want to, but they won't for a long ass time. Yeah. Then one
That's
day.
fear.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Soon as they break the paralysis of fear, it
Mm-hmm.
breaks free their paralysis of analysis.
Yeah. That's so true. That and procrastination. Once you push yourself past that, you're always glad you did. I haven't had any regrets, but I dealt with procrastination a lot because I was gonna say I had this I have this ability of like experiencing something. Like I could say, oh, I want to do something, and I can actually feel the experience from it, and then therefore once I felt the experience, there's no need to actually do it. But in reality, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly experiencing it, but I am on a, I guess, metaphysical type level. Like I could say, oh, I want to go to the beach or whatever. But me looking at a scene on the beach, right? And now we have the technology where we can place ourselves in the beach and watch ourselves on the beach. And I literally get the satisfaction of being on the beach just from that. But I'm
Yeah.
saying that that might be a decent ability, but you also know in reality, you didn't actually, you know, or on a third dimensional level, you didn't actually do it, you know. I don't,
Are you sure about that?
that I didn't actually do. Well, like I said, I changed it on a three-dimensional level. I didn't, but on a higher dimensional level, I actually did. But in society, they would take that still as you not achieving anything, you know.
Look, so you ever heard of placebo effect?
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
works the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You can move your consciousness to different timelines
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
where you are. When you do that, you can determine if you will like or dislike an experience by looking at the timeline that you experience it on.
Wow. I actually do that all the time. Like I just recently,
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go to Hawaii, and because our very close friend is there, and I was supposed to go look for my tickets on Black Friday. I was like, well, maybe they'll have a sale or whatever, because I guess the cost of diesel fuel got them tickets through the roof. So I looked on there, whatever, and I was like, well, the tickets are up there. And I was like, I don't know. I think I might wait a little while or whatever. I was like, it might not be a good time. But in between that time, I kept hearing that they were telling pilots they need to fly lower because the sun is frying more. So they're telling pilots to fly like 10,000 degrees lower than they would, um, feet than they would actually, than they would any other time because of the intensity of the sun. And
But
so
actually, what's
that's a
happening
12-hour
is
trip. Huh?
the ozone layer is coming closer to the surface.
Right. So they're being
Which, which,
exposed to radiation more. That's what it is.
well, listen,
Mm-hmm.
when the ozone layer move closer to the earth, we start breathing O2, which is a
Mm-hmm.
double oxygen molecule,
Right.
which changes our whole biological processes.
Mm-hmm.
right? And it also triggers certain parts of the DNA to reactivate. The UVB rays is the energy that the DNA is going to use to reactivate what's been dormant.
Wow. Yeah.
And some people not going to be able to reactivate. They're going to turn off. We call it dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everybody not synced to the earth. Everybody not earthborn. It's a lot of aliens walking on earth right now. And the ones who trying to sneak around and stay, they're going to die. They have no mitochondrial connection to the earth. So wherever they came from, they're going to be drawn back to there because they couldn't sync to earth.
Wow. That's interesting. Almost had a thought just now about, I don't know why it came to me, but people that are iron deficient, you know, like the more iron you have, the more of an earth connection you would have, you would say. Maybe I'm not saying it right, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to say, like your iron, is it magnetism? Something that for grounding your iron needs to be, you know, at that standard level or better for you to actually be grounded to the earth. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Grounding is different than sinking.
Right.
Iron is a hell of an electrical conductor. The human is an electromagnetic machine. In a hologram, the avatar suits we wear in the hologram, the human suit, right? It's in alignment with the earth. You ever see that movie Avatar?
Yeah.
With blue people?
Yeah.
You remember the dude would lay on the table and project his consciousness into the avatar?
Yeah.
That's what we doing.
Wow.
We somewhere else projecting our consciousness into these avatars. This is University Earth.
Right. Yeah. And
that turned into Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. It seems like it all goes down here. This is the test place to go, you know, to a higher level or not. What happens to those that don't get it again and again after coming? That's like
Look,
that would be the Hellions.
So what we lay in the foundation right now is a 7-generational recovery effort. We lay in the foundations of it now, but we have to destroy the old system before we can launch it.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Right. So me telling everybody what's going on behind the scenes and then showing them how to read that shit is accelerating the fall of the system.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I came to tear this bitch down.
And it is crumbling. I see, yeah.
And
amazing.
And raise the matriarchy and restore the birthright to the earths of the earthright. Now, the earths is 5% nation acknowledgement of the women as the heirs to the earth.
Yeah, right. 5% of the entire earth acknowledges that. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's the name of the organization, the Nation of Gods and Earth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The 5%, the 5% nation. Right. So the science is in multiple doctrines scattered, and we got to put it back together in order to see what's going on. That's what we had to do.
Yeah.
Everybody thought they had it figured out, but they kept getting murdered.
Yeah.
Why they kept getting murdered? They kept getting murdered because they didn't have it all figured out, because they didn't know the white man wasn't white.
That's not who murdered them, right? It wasn't the white man that murdered them. Or maybe it was.
It was some it was the white man, but it was some niggas.
Hired by them. Yeah.
No,
No?
it been niggas behind the scenes that call themselves the white man.
Ah, I see.
They
Yeah.
are the black nobility of Europe.
Yeah, I was saying last night, so after you and young Elder was on, and I was like, damn, can you imagine after we figure out who we are, we get into Kemet, we learn that, we figure out who the Catholics are, everybody's being exposed, the cult's off everybody, and at the end of the day, it was us in the beginning that started this whole chaotic thing. And now it's us that
They
have to
look like us, but they ain't
they
us.
look like us, but
All
they
skin
ain't us.
folk,
Right. Yeah.
all skin folk ain't
Ain't
kinfolk,
kinfolk, and that's for sure. Yeah.
right?
It's for sure. Yeah. Shoot, a
They
lot of
drink blood.
people don't act like they're kinfolk. We are talking about that the other
Listen,
day.
they drink blood,
Mm, wow.
right?
hmm
And we wear the wolves. They call us likings because we look like kin, but we ain't related.
Wow.
They look like us, but they not us.
They not us. Yeah. So that goes all the way back to the Inky and Enlil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Enlil seed is not of the earthborn.
It's not.
They don't belong here.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been in control for 6,000 years.
So are
Give or take 100.
all Anunnaki though? Both of them, Inky and Enlil, are both Anunnaki. They're just are they brothers?
They have brothers.
Half brothers. Okay.
They got different mothers, same father.
Mm. Yeah, that's right. I remember this stuff from last night, but I'm just putting it together. Yeah,
Mhm.
quite interesting for sure. But I know, you know how YouTube they have these certain channels that talking about they channeling from the star constellations, different ones or whatever. And so I like to listen to some of the messages sometimes just to see what they're saying because it sounds like it's like the government. It sounds like it's programming trying to get the masses,
Keep
up
this
to
in mind.
speed about all these ships they seeing flying around and all these different things they're seeing, phenomena or whatever. But I'm sorry, what did you say?
Keep this in mind.
Mm-hmm.
This government and every government on this planet is in contact with the Galactic Council.
Oh yeah. The Israel president talked about it like it was so hush hush, and it was just before the pandemic started. I think it was 2019 or early 2020 when he came out and said he had a converse or a meeting with the aliens or whatever, and they told him not to tell what they talked about because humanity isn't ready. Who the hell told him that? Well, I think most of us are ready, It seems to me like, yeah, we're more ready than they think, you know.
Listen, this ain't our first rodeo.
Mm,
These ain't our first wars with foreign powers to come here.
mm, yeah.
Before the Anunnaki came, we had wars with the Andromeda beings.
hmm
To satisfy their bloodlust, when the Anunnaki came, Enki created dinosaurs for them to hunt.
I was gonna ask about how was that age? Yeah, how did we survive through that age? Because they were some vicious dinosaurs was vicious. Yeah.
But they was only on certain land masses. They
Uh,
wasn't all over the world.
okay. That makes sense.
But we had different prehistoric species all over the world.
Yeah.
Some of the modern species are derivatives,
Mm,
right, on genetic engineering so that the species is not able to devour man.
mm,
Like we went from having 3,000 and 4,000 pound giant cats to 500 and 600 pounds lions and tigers,
mm,
right? Because we can we fight them motherfuckers. If you see the Masai Mara coming across the Serengeti and the lions see them motherfuckers, they dip. They don't want no smoke.
Yeah.
Because that's what we used to use that as a rites of passage. Son, if you a man, go get you a lion pelt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely a man when he gets past that.
Go fight a fucking lion and prove to me that you a bad motherfucker like you say you is. You come back with that lion pelt on, we know you that real deal.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, for sure. Yep, that'll do it. And the girls, what's the girls' rites of passage?
The girls had different rites of passage depending on their geography.
Okay.
Right, but theirs all centered around taking care of the family and protecting children and making medicine. The women was primarily the healers because we coming back beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because we out there fighting in the jungle against beasts. We wasn't fighting each other yet.
Yeah.
That's a foreign concept to humans to fight each other.
Yeah.
We don't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah, too busy fighting those big ass, wild ass animals. We didn't have time to be fighting each other. Now we don't have the wild animals to fight. Now we're reduced to fighting each other.
And not to mention that an external force intervened and established armies to fight each other through the armies. Two so-called gods formed two armies of humans and then sick them on each other.
Right. And sit back and watch. Yeah, that's sick. That's definitely sick.
Highly sociopathic, but that's Yahweh in your Bible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He tell you thou shalt not kill, then send you to kill the whole village. Don't leave nothing living, including the animals.
And you know, it was crazy how I'll take myself, for example, how you could be in a church for a while. Because I was never one of them that just went on Sunday to read the scripture or whatever. I'm actually studying the book. Like I'm into that type of thing. So I'm actually reading and studying. And then you come across all this. If you don't see where the whole thing about women, you know, the way God tells men to treat women in the Bible, if you don't see like the children, the thing about the children, but you'll never see that stuff until you actually get into those books. Like you gotta go start past Exodus, like it starts getting crazy. Well, it's crazy in Genesis, but it really starts getting crazy with Leviticus and all the rest of them after that. You know, Exodus and because I would have always asked myself a question for years, like, why they don't like Pharaoh? Because I remember being like 5 years old. I used to have this anthropology book, like just a book that was in the house, but I gravitated towards this big, thick, giant book, damn near big as me, and I would always flip through it. And it did start with the Paleolithic man, and when we was an ape, and then we, you know, it went through the whole evolution. Then a few chapters in the middle of the book, here's Egypt. And I remember being so intrigued with the pyramids and the gold, all the gold, and you know, just the whole comedic scene situation. I remember being a little girl and then like not having that in my remembrance for years, over 20 years, and then to come back to it as a grown woman and be, you know, have those memories come back and be even more intrigued and feel connected to it is pretty interesting. But I definitely felt that as a kid. Yeah, I felt that connection whenever I looked at the artifacts and just everything.
Yeah. You want to take a couple questions from the listeners before we log out?
Yeah. You have any on your end? I'm on the Zoom screen. Definitely haven't even looked at the chat.
Well, tell the people to ask the questions. If they got any questions, y'all ask them, and we'll deal with them. I don't see none on the screen right now.
Yeah, I don't see it. Let me see. I gotta go on that screen. It's weird. It's like I never, every time I come on live, it's really hard for me to see people in the chat. It's like, can they go in the chat or are they blocking the chat? It's just weird. Or maybe no one wants to come in my chat. That could be it. Let me see. I don't see anyone on the YouTube end. And I don't see. Are you on Facebook?
Peace
I'm just
Rain.
on YouTube. I didn't go on Facebook on this side. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, there is someone in the chat. Yay!
Okay, so I see the first question I see is Peace Reign asks, so 6,000 years ago is when the Caucasians were created. Is that correct? That's not correct. The pale-skinned Europeans was created 8,400 years ago in Sumer.
Mm.
The ones that was left in the Caucasus Mountains was the ones who was born with the birth defects. So they put them in the mountains thinking nobody would notice that they was there. But the females was synced to the earth, which gave them direct access mitochondrial link-wise to the queen of heaven and earth.
Mm.
So when all of the guardian wolves was missing, she sent out her reconnaissance team to find the guardian wolves. This is why they say Romulus and Remus was suckled by the she-wolf. The she-wolf name was She-Ra. And the wolves was rearing the children and they was weeping at the condition of the children. And this is what made the queen of heaven blow a stack. Shut this bitch down till they fix this problem. When you go into the hieroglyphs, the story reads that the Isis sent her scientists to go and recover these beings in Europe. And when they brought them back, they had them on leash and they was on all fours. And she was like, what banner of beast is it? And they were like, I don't know what it is. Right? Because they had all these birth defects created by using sulfur to try to conceal the creation and stop them from having ascension rights. This is what they talking about in Genesis. When God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness and let man work by the sweat of his brow. They talk about Lulu Amalu. The Enki had already perfected the worker strain with what we know today as the sign Bushman and the Pygmy to work in the mines of Rafali in South Africa. Enlil, he thought that he could make something superior. So he enlisted his son named Nindersin as his chief scientist to conceal the species he was creating because they were told by Anu not to tamper with the creation that Enki and Inanna had on the earth because they had perfected the DNA strain of the Lulu Amalu, right? And when they got done meeting they quotas of gold, that the Lulu Amalu would then be activated and get full ascension rights and become the gods of the earth. Well, so when they discovered the defective beings in Europe, the remedy that the Anunnaki gave was to give them one drop of Anunnaki blood. But the earthborn blood is even better because it also serves as a sink to the earth. They use the racism and told the male gods the females he's not allowed to have in order to drive them two species together. Otherwise, they would never commingle or cohabit. And this is what the whole breeding program was all about. The eugenics is coming from the sciences of Enki on how to repair the cerebral spinal network so that the new being can be able to have the ascension right that they were denied by Enlil creating them with sulfur instead of carbon. So it's 8,400 years ago. They didn't get the right to rule until 6,000 years ago. And they was given a limit to how much blood they could spill. And Enki and his children was tasked with enforcing that bullshit. And we didn't like it. But we had amnesia, so we didn't know what the fuck was going on no more. Because it was an artificially induced Kali Yuga. They call it the spell of Kingu. I've seen another question too. We're gonna take let me see.
I got one for you from Autumn. She says, how can she contribute as a professional tarot reader?
Look, so all of the stuff that I talk about, pick out the subject matter and ask the cards what they got to say about it. Do the public reading and let the people see what you read. Yeah. Because the oracles is going to filter out the bullshit. Peace Rain said, I've been having a lot of dreams surrounding water. I know spirit comes at water. What does it mean? Yeah. So it depends on how you see the water in the dream. Water means spirit. If you're in the water, that means that you submerged in your spiritual life development. If you at the water, you contemplating jumping in. Then you determining if you're going to participate in your spiritual development. Disha Hendricks say Temple of Seti the first tells the story right. I don't remember which one of the temples, but I remember reading the story in the hieroglyphics. Don't let nobody's skin color determine how you're going to deal with them, because most of the people that you think is pale white people now is just passing. Them just niggas that's passing now.
Brother Rod, I just want you to also give your Cash App. There's a little lag. Okay, so you're talking. There was a little lag. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so the Cash App, $, capital SIK, capital APE.
Okay. Yes, definitely show Brother Rod some love for using his time to share with us. I am so excited about this today. Let's see. Looks like
Diane 24 say so the monetary shift happening for sure soon. Yeah, but I don't know what soon means, because Big Mama keep telling me when I ask for time frames is it take how long it take. Only the women know the day and the time. No man ain't allowed to know. I don't know why that is, but this y'all shit, so it makes sense.
Is he talking about the financial?
Yeah, he's talking about the switch in the economic system.
Yeah, I
Well, in real time, we watching the dollar collapse. We
Oh,
watching other
absolutely.
countries back their currency with gold, and our gold is held in abeyance by the earthborn. So our gold ain't even being utilized. It's just being stockpiled.
Mm. Yeah, there's definitely a race to stockpile gold and silver at this time. Well, to throw it in, it's actually a great time to buy silver right now.
Yeah, I had a jeweler call me earlier. I'm gonna call him back tomorrow. I want to talk to him about some stuff. But he was
Yeah,
mentioning the silver that he was selling.
yeah, absolutely. I think the price of it is lower than $25 an ounce.
Anything Kanye doing? C. Moses asked the question about Kanye,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to know is it worth if it's something to keep an eye on. When Kanye is being bashed by the media, they covering something up. They use him as the whooping boy. So
Hmm.
anytime he tell y'all the truth, and they need to cover something up, they gonna sensationalize whatever he doing. John Sally tell it the best where you can understand it.
Yeah,
Um, energy bender. The energy benders, air, fire, earth, and water. What you see in the cartoon, the Avatar. Those are the four elements in elemental magic.
mm,
As you learn to work with each of those four elements, when you master all four, that's when you have access to master the fifth element, which is the ether, right? Which is a energy that is dominantly controlled in the physical vessel easiest if you carry your uterus because it's a galactic portal.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the last question, sweetie. We can wrap us on up from here.
Yes. I want to wrap up and thank everyone for participating and thank Brother Rod. If anyone wants to contact you, would you like to leave some
Y'all,
information?
yeah, just like you spell my cash up, my Instagram is the Sick8, TheSikape. My YouTube is Rod Hayes, and um, them the only two channels I'm primarily on. You can catch me a couple times a week with the young elder on his channel on YouTube, because Malachi York asked me to teach the people using young elder to bounce the information off of. So
Yeah, absolutely. So I
yeah,
want to
so
thank you for taking your time to come out, and hopefully, this won't be the last time you come through. We'll have some more subjects and different things. You know, something we've been talking about our indigenous stake in our claim here, and I appreciate that information, and I would love to learn more. So perhaps we could have another conversation around that at another time.
so thank you for having me first and foremost. I appreciate you inviting me over to occupy your space. And
Thank
for
you. Anytime. Feel free.
those who are not aware of the Indigenous Rights Act, there's two versions. It's the UN and the United States version, which everything on the land reverts back to the tribes. All land is tribal land in the Americas.
Mm,
Get the get the FEMA continuity of government, and you can track the transitional phases of government that we're going through right now.
yeah.
Right, so that'll get you caught up. A lot of the lectures I got on the young elder is patching the gaps as to who did it, where they come from, how they done it, why they done it, and who helped them.
Yes, definitely go over to Young Elders channel, subscribe, and check out all the videos. So many videos. They've been going in lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Definitely don't be a stranger at the House of Tanya 23. My main genre is I'm a Reiki master and I work with energy healing, sound, and I also create products, organic products to fit someone's need. Whatever your need is, if you have eczema, if you're having issues from the spiritual side all the way until, you know, the side that the physical side. You could contact me at www.tanya23.com or houseoftanya23@gmail.com. I'd like to have a conversation, see what it is that I can do for you, and we can go from there. And thank you again, Brother Rod, and I hope I will keep in contact and have you back sometime soon.
Okay, thank you, sweetie.
Thank you. And yeah, I'll send you a message. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Okay.